What is going on, everyone? I am super excited about today's topic. Today's topic is I care about my hourly wage. Do you care about your hourly wage? I'm going to break down why it is an important thing, an affirmation to say I care about my hourly wage. I'm going to go over the 6 lies, and I'm going to tell you what kind of questions you should be asking yourself in this video if you care about your hourly wage. So if you want to double that hourly wage, triple that hourly wage, or quadruple that hourly wage, this is the video for you, especially if you happen to sell real estate. Welcome to Gamify Real Estate. I'm excited. Let's begin. So the first thing that I want to talk about, powerful questions, and this is one of those write downable statements. Powerful questions demand powerful answers. Powerful questions demand powerful answers. If you want to have a big life, you have to ask big questions. Asking big questions helps bring that big life together. I want you to think about a matrix. So if we drew a cross on the center of a piece of paper, on the top left, you're going to have big and specific questions. On the top right, big and broad questions. On the bottom, small and specific, and then small and broad. So there's different kinds of questions. You have the big ones on top, broad and specific, and then on the bottom you have small questions, broad and specific. So I hope that makes sense. So visualize that. Now, an example of a big and specific question, a big and specific question would be, what can I do to double sales in the next 6 months? A big and broad question would be, what could I do to double sales? Notice we don't have the time frame in there, so that's what makes it broad. Small and broad, what could I do to increase sales? Small and specific, what can I do to increase sales by 5% this year? When we ask those big questions, those big ones, the big and specific questions, our brain starts to go to work. We start to look for clues here. Now, I've told you in other videos, this is an important one too, and you should write this down. Use models. You want to get from point A to point B the fastest? What can I do to double my income in 6 months? Go look. Who is doing it? Who's doing it right now? Who's selling more than you right now? Go look for the model. Success leaves clues is something that we say. So find that model. Understand that model. Be like Sherlock Holmes. Be a sleuth, a detective. Figure out the pieces that they're doing, the things that they're doing to get to that level. And then the second thing, implement that model. So the first one, find the model. Second one, implement the model. Once you're cooking with gas with that model, we get to go under the third one, which is my favorite phase. We get to create new models. But we don't do that before we're successful with that. So I want to talk about your hourly wage. I started off this video saying that affirmation, I care about my hourly wage. I'm going to share my screen and I want you to take a look at this here. This is something that I'm super excited about in real estate. But why, as a real estate agent, should you never pump your own gas? Never pump your own gas. So when I used to do this presentation in different brokerages, and I'd go in there and I said, why shouldn't you pump your own gas? And it came off kind of pretentious, right? Like, are you kidding me? Like, is it beneath me to pump my own gas? Well, it is beneath your hourly wage. It's not beneath you to pump your own gas. It is beneath your hourly wage. And so I would ask the question in the brokerages, if we got, a listing appointment later today and we realized that we didn't have a lot of gas, how long would it take us, to get the car keys from the office, get in the car, drive to the gas station, pump the gas, probably grab a snack or two from the gas station, get back in the car, and then come back to the office? And the typical response was about a half hour. So I want you to remember that. It takes about a half hour. Now, we can make an argument, there's one right around the corner. Is it closer? Just go with me on this. About a half hour. This is where it gets really fun. And this is the one of the ways we gamify real estate. And when you understand these numbers that we're about to go over, you too can gamify real estate. And you will start to be able to gamify and increase your hourly wage. So let's take a look at the chart on the top here. Now, this is tracked by literally hundreds of thousands of phone calls. There's a lot of work that went into these numbers here. And low efficiency is going to be 1 to 4 conversations or contacts per hour. Medium efficiency is 5 to 7, and high efficiency is 8 to 10. When we're intentional about our hourly wage, we never want to fall below that medium category. So medium or better. Contacts to appointment, 144 in the low stage, medium 60, high stage is 24. 24 contacts, you have an appointment. So that would be someone that's very well scripted. Contacts to listing, 480, 120, 32. Now listing conversion is 30, 50 to 75. Now this is where it gets fun. So remember what I said. Takes about a half hour, right? To get everything done, get gas, get back to the office, get settled back in and focused on your task. So about a half hour. If we're in high efficiency, how much does that half hour cost us? Now, the chart here below, I want you to take a look at this. So 12 contacts on average to find a lead. What's a lead? Well, when you use my definition of a lead, you get to really gamify it. So my definition of a lead, there's a few different criteria. Number one, they're going to be transacting in the next 12 months, in the next 12 months. So they're going to buy a house or sell a house in the next 12 months. Number two, we really, truly understand their motivation. So why are they moving? But we get to the root of it. We really go deep with that. We understand that motivation. Why are they selling? It's not just, I want a different house. Why? It's a pain in the butt to move. Why are you thinking about selling? Why are you thinking about buying? So number two, you really understand their motivation. Number three, you have at least a piece of their contact information and permission to follow up. A piece of their contact information, like email, cell phone, and permission to follow up. And number four, they're in your CRM and they're labeled. And what do I mean by labeled? A 10 would be buying a house or selling a house this month. A 9 would be next month, 8, so on and so forth. And now we can start to see where the peaks and valleys are in our business. Those are the 4 criteria for a lead that we use. So 12 contacts, you find a lead. 5 leads to get an appointment, 2 appointments to get a closing. So this is where it gets really fun here. So if we say the average commission in the United States right now is about $10,000, not too bad, $10,000. So break out your calculators. You know, if you have an iPhone, it's going to work great. If you have an Android, you can throw it right in the trash where it belongs because the calculator won't work on that anyway. And I'm kidding, Android users. 2 appointments to a closing. So if each closing is worth $10,000, what is each appointment worth? Go ahead and divide that $10,000 by 2, and the answer is $5,000. Each appointment that we go on is worth about $5,000. Now, when you go to that for sale by owner or you go to that expired and they rip your head off, you know, you should be leaving that appointment with a smile on your face, and that seller should be scratching their head and say, why are you so happy? I was just a huge jerk to you. And you should tell them, you just made me $5,000. Because it's as if. And when we change the way we're looking at things, one of the books that I love is Go for No. It talks about the same concept. Like, how many no's do I have to get before I get a yes? Start tracking your numbers and we can gamify it. So go leave that appointment with a smile on your face. Yeah, you were a huge jerk, and I know I'm going to get the next appointment. So thank you. Thank you. All right, let's keep going. So 2 appointments to get a closing. So 1 closing's worth 10 grand. You're all tracking there with me. You should be writing this down too. Each appointment's worth $5,000. So how much is each lead worth? So 5 leads to 1 appointment, 2 appointments to 1 closing, or said another way, 10 leads to 1 closing. How much is each lead worth? Go ahead and do the math. And the number is $1,000, right? $1,000. So each lead, when you hit my definition of the lead, the 4 bullet points, they're transacting in the next 12 months. You know, we've understood their motivation at a high level. You have a piece of their information, permission to follow up, and they're in your CRM and labeled. It's as if you put $1,000 into your bank account. Now, the real fun thing about this, when I'm in those brokerages and I say, hey, you know, I give you 10 leads, and here's the definition of lead. They're transacting in the next 12 months. You got a piece of their information, permission to follow up. You understand their motivation. They're in your CRM and they're labeled. I give you 10 of those. How many realistically can you close? No one ever says 1. Most people say, 3 or 4 or 5. You know, the real good agents, they'll say, 8 or 9. So we're going worst case scenarios with these numbers. So $1,000 each time you can check that box for those 4 bullet points for a lead. It's as if you put $1,000 or more into your bank account. Now, the final number, I want you to do this. That $1,000, how many contacts does it take to find a lead? And you can see on our chart, it says 12. So each time you have a conversation, an intentional conversation about real estate, you can see that's worth $83. Whoa. This is where you should be like, this is interesting, because now we can start to gamify it. So if each conversation I have about real estate, now it's got to be intentional. You know, I remember I had an agent on my team one time that, you know, and this is on me as a leader. Like I should have examined this, but he thought contacts were just talking to people about anything. So he set up a doctor's appointment, and he's like, oh, I got a contact. I'm like, you didn't talk about real estate. He's like, yeah, I know, but it was a contact. It counts. I'm like, no, buddy. No, it doesn't. We have to be intentional. So you have to ask the question, who do you know that's thinking about selling or buying that I could reach out today? Not, Remember me. I'm in real estate, not, hey, if you got any of those referrals, I love them. Be intentional about the question. Who do you know that's thinking about selling or buying that I could reach out to today? That counts. When we have that question asked, you put $83 into your pocket. Now, let's go to high efficiency. Top right again, contacts per hour. So in high efficiency, we could have 10 of these conversations in an hour. Now, think about that. Distractions are gone. My list is in front of me. I'm probably using a dialer. I'm calling my database. I'm calling people that I already have a warm relationship with. Take that $83.33 and multiply that by 10. That's not rocket science. You probably don't need a calculator for that. But this is what you come up with. So when you are in high efficiency, when you are in the zone, you're making $833 an hour. Now, if you're on a team, maybe you have a 50-50 split, divide that by 2, you're still making over $400 an hour. This is powerful. Let's go back to the $833 an hour, though. So I said it would take about a half hour to get gas. You divide that 833 by 2, that's $416. Do you think maybe, I don't need to give someone $416, but maybe I could give somebody $100 or $50 to, hey, could you go fill up my gas? Here's my card and here's $50 to go fill it up. This is where I goes back full circle. We're coming back to the beginning. I care about my hourly wage. Do you care about your hourly wage? This is critical. When you want to grow in real estate, we have to be intentional. We have to treat this like a business. No, we don't just work in it. We think about what we're doing. What are those high dollar producing activities? And I'm going to tell you there's 5 things. 5 things that you need to master should you want to get to the next level. We already know the stats. 70% of people that get into real estate fail out in the first year. The 30% that still remains, another 70% fail out. So if you want to be part of the upper elites, the people that have the privilege of coaching, be intentional. I care about my hourly wage, and then focus on these 5 things. Number 1, coaching and training. What are you doing to sharpen the saw, to get better at your craft, to raise that skill set? I'm going to argue 2 things for you that are super easy. Number 1, join our Facebook community. It's free. We have a free Facebook community. I go live in it most days. There's a lot of good information in there. Number 2, if you really want to take your business seriously, join our masterclass. This is the cheapest, most value-packed real estate group course there is. Go to gamifymasterclass.com and then come along with this journey, and we'll implement a lot of things. So number 1, if you're going to take your job seriously, if you're going to really grow this, is that coaching and training. Number 2 is lead generation. Why do we do lead generation? To get to number 3, lead follow-up. Why do we do lead follow-up? So we can get to number 4, going on appointments. Why do we go on appointments? So we can get to number 5, negotiate contracts. Those are the 5 things that you need to do to become an expert in this field, to get paid what you're worth, to raise that hourly wage. So if you enjoyed this video, I would love for you guys to subscribe to our channel. I'd love for you to throw a comment. Let me know, what your goals are for the year, and reach out to me. I am passionate. I hope you can tell that. I'm passionate about helping other people.